I won't be here to protect you forever.
I think a lot of parents should ask themselves, am I truly protecting my child, or am I protecting my own comfort and reputation?
I'm so afraid that one day you will end up in a cage.
But I already am in a cage.
That whole notion keeps us from actually being present and listening. All prejudice and bigotry is fear-based.
I'm a wolf walker.
No, Robbie, stay with me. I can't let you go.
If he had regulated his emotions, he could have heard, my daughter has the solution to every freaking problem.
It drives me absolutely insane. Hello and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Alan Seawright, a professional filmmaker who needs therapy. I'm joined by my co-host,
Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist who loves movies, and joining us today, the one, the only...
Hello, my geeks and peeps, my explainers and entertainers, my little oodalollies, Rebecca Parham here.
Yay! It's so good to have you back.
Oh, it's so good to be back.
It's been way too long.
It has, and I'm glad life got together where we could do this again.
So last time you were here, we were discussing Lilo and Stitch.
Yes, so dear to my heart.
What are we doing today, Alan?
Today we're going to be talking about another animated film. This was nominated for the Best Animated Film Academy Award, WOLFWALKERS.
Well, and we have an expert here in animation and in being an amazing redhead.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So let's do this.
Father, they took Merlin.
Lass, no. No, you're not going after him. Not in there.
But we can't leave him.
Look, I promised your mother I'd keep you safe. It's all right, love.
We see right here a lot of where his fear comes from.
Yeah.
Is that they recently both lost the mother.
I love in this scene that we get to see the contrast in the art styles of the woods, which are very painterly, and then the town, which is very much, it's a woodcut.
Yeah, well, you see the flatness, in those two shots we just saw, where it was almost a complete 180 turn of the camera, where we see the village and we see the land that they have, flattened and made into farmland. It is very flat. It almost looks like the backdrop of a stage in theater.
Yeah.
While the woods has actual depth and has organic shapes. And it's such a brilliant contrast and plays well into the theme.
The rigidity of the town versus the freedom of the woods.
Exactly.
Okay, here's my question, because I hadn't put my finger on it, but you nailed it. It looks like the backdrop of a stage. So is that image, when you see the woods in the foreground and the town in the background, is that all just on one, paper, for lack of a better term, or do they actually have two different things, one photographed in front of the other? What do you...
We asking if there's a multiplane camera going on here?
If I had the language to ask that question, that is the question I'd be asking, yes.
Well, so, I honestly don't know if they have something that is essentially the equivalent of a multiplane camera in whatever software they use, but I'm sure the principles still apply.
Yeah.
Because that is what truly gives any traditional 2D animation depth, is creating those layers, and often with flattened images just layered on top of each other and then moving the camera through them at different rates. So yeah, I think it's very possible that they accomplish the exact same thing in whatever software they're working with.
So, super quick explanation for you and for anyone curious at home. A multiplane camera, this was most famously used by Walt Disney. You would have your far, far, far background image is at the very bottom on a glass plate. And then the camera is positioned up at the top, and you would have multiple planes of glass moving at different speeds.
Yeah.
And it gives you the feeling of perspective shift that you get in real life, but you're just faking it. And it's a fairly complex technical piece of equipment that you can super easily do on your iPad or any laptop now.
So cool.
What's happening here is he knows some things that she either doesn't know or is not willing to acknowledge.
Yeah.
There's issues with, you got to follow the Lord Protector's rules. And, you know, he's scared of the woods because of wolves, but he's also scared of the woods because of the Lord Protector.
Yeah. How
do you balance as a parent protecting your child's safety while also protecting as much of their innocence? And like, when do you crush your children's hopes?
This is weirdly a place where I take a page from Tom Cruise's stunt playbook.
Okay.
So Tom Cruise is...
Parent like Tom Cruise does stunts.
No, listen,
tell.
just
Insanely.
give me a second. Give me a second. Just stay with
working
me.
up to it. He's working up to
So
it.
he says, don't be careful, be competent.
Don't be careful, be confident. Be confident.
And so the
okay.
reason Tom Cruise can do all these insane stunts and survive is because of all the planning and preparation and the research into how to do it safely.
Sure.
And how to be prepared for it. So that's what I do with my kids. If they have something they're passionate about, they have something that they really want to do, but I also want to keep them safe. And I think that's a great life skill because instead of being afraid and holding back out of fear, we're not afraid when we're prepared. And so it's all about the preparation. You really want to do this? Let's actually learn how to do it the smart way.
And I think that absolutely builds up confidence and independence because, you know, the opposite would be to at all times be questioning your child's competence, which slowly erodes away at their ability to have agency and their ability to act independently of you as the adult, of you as the parent.
Hey, remember that doctor's appointment you were supposed to make a while ago?
That one you meant to book, but you forgot about and got completely sidetracked until just now.
You know, that dentist appointment to file down your extra sharp canines.
Or that overdue appointment for treating the festering wolf trap wound on your leg.
Or to squeeze in that annual checkup before Lord Protector cancels your health insurance.
Why not book today?
ZocDoc makes it easier to find the right doctor right now, and it's all online.
You'll probably be able to book an appointment before the end of this ad, because we're slow.
And with ZocDoc, it's easy.
You can find doctors that are right for you and instantly book an appointment.
ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click instantly to book an appointment.
Faster than Wolf Mave running through the forest.
They make it so easy to find and book a doctor who's right for you.
We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across a wide variety of specialties.
From mental health to dental health.
Eye care to skin care to mammy care, and so much more. Mammy!
Father, let me go to the forest! And when you're searching for a doctor, you can filter for ones who take your insurance
Are located near you.
and who treat basically any condition you're searching for.
Even neck and wrist rash from being in the stocks.
And lycanthropy.
You can also see their actual appointment openings
Choose a time slot that works for you.
and click to instantly book a visit.
Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking.
You can even, if you have the luck of the Irish, score same-day appointments.
Since I recently moved, I'm going to use ZocDoc to find and book great doctors near me.
You need to stop moving so often.
But I like to move it.
Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/cinematherapy to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today.
That's ZocDoc.com/cinematherapy.
ZocDoc.com/cinematherapy.
I can't leave my father. He has to work for the Lord Protector. And Maeve, you can't stay in the forest either. They're cutting it all down.
No way! I scared him off.
The Lord Protector wants the wolves gone. Dead. You have to leave.
We were leaving. Me, Mammy, with the pack.
What stopped you?
Mammy went off.
As a wolf?
Yeah, to find us a new place to live. I'm sure.
I love that she just starts brushing her hair.
Then,
Oh, sheesh. I forgot about that.
It worked out great.
So then, where is she? Do you think she got caught?
no, she's fine. Nobody can catch my Mammy. And anyway, if she was caught by those stinkers, I'd get me wolves to eat them.
So, you're waiting for her to come back?
I also
Yep.
just noticed that
Sure.
as a girl, she has a little notch out of her ear like you often see in dogs and wolves.
Probably playing too rough with the pack.
Yeah. Aw, friendship.
Friendship.
Can we talk about the design of Maeve for a second? I mean, we mentioned it briefly, but whoa. What are your thoughts on this as an animator?
So when you actually look at that scene, we have our two most important characters, which are Maeve and Robin. And when you have two characters that are going to spend so much time side by side to each other, you want distinctly different character designs and distinctly different silhouettes. Maeve, she's just hidden behind that silhouette, like upside down teardrop shape of her hair. And it's so fluid and smooth and it's wild and crazy. Like, I want to say like a trope used in animation is that a woman's hair flying free equals freedom.
Yeah.
And a woman's hair tied back equals she's being kept in a cage. She's insecure. She's not as free.
I love that her teeth get sharp anytime she goes momentarily feral.
Yep.
You know?
You see the canines even more?
Yeah.
There's a difference that you see in the way Maeve has been raised and the way Robin has been raised individually by their parents. Because you see, Maeve is a very confident, independent child. While she still needs her mom and still wants, to be with her mom has set her up with agency. Set her up for competence, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
Because she does have rules: stay in the forest, protect the pack, protect the forest, but she still is able to track, she's able to heal, she's able to command the wolf pack, she still is able to get her own food and take care of herself. So therein, she is made more independent by a careful relationship with safety versus, pushing your child to step up.
Yeah. Well, and I think all prejudice and bigotry, which is a major theme of this film, is fear-based. I mean, we talk about hate, and that's absolutely true, but the hatred comes from fear and from our natural need for self-protection, self-preservation of us and of the people that we care about. And anytime you look at hatred, prejudice, bigotry, violence, it's generally based on, well, we gotta protect ourselves from those threats,
other people,
from those others, right?
Yeah.
And both Robin and Maeve have parents who are like, there are things to be afraid of and things to be careful about. But whereas Robin's dad is like, stay home, stay safe, stay locked away, be afraid. It's very much like the Croods, honestly. Don't go outside. Yeah. Maeve's mom is saying, I'm giving you everything you need to handle those situations. Now go live your life. And that is extremely empowering.
Hey, just wanted to let you know we have an exclusive Patreon video where I talk to Rebecca and Bryson from Haminations about
our cinematic animation references.
So go check that out over on our Patreon, patreon.com/cinematherapy. We'll see you over there.
And how was your scullery work? You must be tired, love.
Well, about that, what if I told you I
And
could...
Merlin is back. My, you've had quite the day, lass.
Yes, I have. But what if I told you...
My day has been awful. Every trap I set this week has either been broken or sprung. Never seen the like of these wolves.
Father, what if I told you I can get all the wolves to leave, and you don't even have to kill them?
As a tall, bearded,
Now,
blonde guy
promise
who
you won't
doesn't
get
listen to
angry
his
with me.
children, I feel called out by this.
You didn't promise.
I know. Go on, tell me.
You see, I went back to find Merlin.
You were out in the woods.
Father, listen. She's one of them. A wolf walker, like the woodcutter said. They're real.
You went back?
But Father...
You left the scullery?
Well, I didn't actually get to the scullery.
What?
He didn't hear
The
anything
Lord
that she
protect
actually
you,
said.
Lord.
If we can just find her mother...
Listen, you have to follow the Lord Protector's rules. He gave you a direct order and you disobeyed him. Have you no fear of the Stocks? We need to work together to stay in this town, lass. I'll bring you to the scullery tomorrow
But
myself.
please, I thought you would understand. I can help you if we just...
Help me by doing your work and staying in town, away from danger. Now promise me.
I promise, Father.
It's just so frustrating because, there's a moment before the father arrives where Robin actually, rehearses the conversation and a version of the conversation she wished would happen. And it's a conversation where her father listens to her. And here, in reality, the unfortunate thing is that he only listens as far to then answer with rules, to answer with hindering her further.
Yeah. And this is selective listening. Is something that happens when it's a trauma response. It's a trauma response, and also when there's not actually trauma, but there is fear, it's a very similar thing. And I know I've been guilty of this sometimes with my kids, where they'll say one or two things that trigger a fear response or trigger a I feel disrespected sensation, and these things come up, and then I don't actually hear everything that's going on. And in order to be present, we have to regulate what's going on with us physiologically. The fact is, when we have a fear response, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, our heart rate accelerates, our breathing accelerates, our muscles tense up, our body is telling us, get ready to do something to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. And once we're in that space, everything is this a threat or not? Could this possibly be a threat? I need to treat it as a threat. Kind of like Ben Affleck in Batman v Superman.
He has the power to wipe out the entire human race, and if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Sorry, Alan, to even bring that movie up. But that
triggered a trauma response for me, so...
That is his mentality in that movie of, if there's a chance that this is a threat, we need to treat it as such. And that whole notion keeps us from actually being present and listening. This is why it's so important that when someone is saying something to you and you feel threatened, to take a few breaths so that you can be present. And if you can't do it then, I love to say, listen, I'm having an emotional response right now. and I want to be present for you. I need some time to calm down. And you might think, I can never say that when I'm angry. I'm just going to go full bore in, or when I'm scared, I'm just going to charge in. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Because he's kind of cherry picking a couple things that she says and reacting instead of responding. If he had regulated his arousal or regulated all these emotions flooding him to be present for her, he actually could have heard, my daughter has the solution to every freaking problem. And I know this drove you crazy, Alan.
The number one, like, movie trope that drives me bananas is the entire plot is based on a misunderstanding between characters that could be solved with a 1-minute conversation. Now, to be fair to this movie, that is the theme of the movie.
Yes.
Is we need to listen to each other, we need to accept influence from each other, and that can come from your daughter, not just from your dad, you know, whatever. Like, that is the theme of the movie, and it's very effective at it, and it's effective because it drives me absolutely insane.
Guess what drives me insane in the therapy office?
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
That behavior in real life.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the movie's fault. Like, it's not a flaw in the movie, because that is human behavior.
It's driving home the point.
Fucking wolf vision. We're gonna geek out about the technical stuff, aren't we?
So gonna geek out.
Yes.
Robin!
Something's happened to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
You've got
I
pencil
thought I'd
lines
fixed the
everywhere.
pipe. I thought you'd be fine. Oh, Mommy's gonna kill me.
Well, my father will
See, Mom
kill
does
me.
have rules.
Hey!
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, free-range parenting doesn't work, but leaning more towards freedom and preparation instead of harsh restraint is the key.
I'm a wolfwalker.
I know. Mommy said this would be bad, like never to bite anyone. But I love it. It's smashing.
It is bad. I'll get killed by this. What about my buddy?
It's asleep, nice and cozy. Look, you're a wolf when you sleep, a girl.
Those Matryoshka dolls, they're just like one inside the other.
And my father.
Don't worry about that. Learn how to be a wolf first. Come on.
Wolfcam reminds me of the Evil Dead movies. You know, just like
Yeah.
it's through the force of...
I don't know what software they used, but I do know that they did a pre-visualization of the whole thing in 3D software. So they built 3D models of the forest to look like, you know, the way it was drawn, animated. And then they would fly a camera through it, and then animators would go back in and like basically take printouts of every single frame and just trace over that so that they had the perfect perspective of flying through and making it a 3-dimensional thing.
Absolute labor of love that worked out so beautifully. It makes you feel like you're on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And you get the thrill that Robin is experiencing for the first time ever, and seeing how wonderful it is to be free, to be wild, to be a wolf walker, embrace what you now are. And I think, you know, that can be said for any time you embrace who you are, embrace, you know, what makes you uniquely you, and to not hold that back any longer. So I think there's so much joy to be found in that. And I think they did that so perfectly with Wolf Vision.
I actually know some details on how they did this that you guys haven't shared yet.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Oh,
Please
boy,
do
oh, boy.
tell.
No, I actually don't.
I was so proud of you for a moment.
I know. That's what my dad keeps telling me.
Robin, what are you doing, girl?
See, even the shadows on her are just so rough. And
Oh, this is wrong. Don't you see that?
Robin, step aside. We must do what we're told.
Why,
I told you of her
Why?
I'm afraid.
hair in the wind.
I'm afraid.
Father?
I won't be here to protect you forever. I'm so afraid that one day you will end up in a cage.
But I already am in a cage.
That is maybe the most relatable parenting thing ever. It is so difficult to try and teach my children how to stay out of traps without putting them in a trap. How to teach them to stay out of a cage without putting them in a cage to protect them from getting in a cage.
Right.
It's the most difficult parenting problem. Does that relate to any other relationships as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, that relates to any relationship where you have a stewardship, you know, over somebody who is still developing, or who needs your or who needs your assistance. You know, they may be disabled, can't care for themselves, what have you. That it's someone you love, it's someone that you care about, and you don't want them to get hurt. And I think the movie gives the answer to that complicated problem.
Yeah.
In principle, it's very simple. It's a two-step process. You listen. You honor autonomy. I guess it's a three-step process. You listen, you honor autonomy, and you work together to prepare the person instead of protecting them. I'm referencing all sorts of animated films today. Finding Nemo, when he's like,
I promised him I'd never let anything happen to him.
That's a funny thing to promise.
What?
Well, you can't never let anything happen to him. Then nothing would ever happen to him.
in principle, it's a very simple solution to a complicated problem. In application, simple solutions are hard to apply because emotions.
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
May I also speak to not just behavior, not just wanting to go out and do things, but this can also be seen from an identity perspective. When a child comes to a parent and says, Mom, Dad, I'm queer, I'm gay, I'm bi, I'm trans, I'm this, I'm that. Very often, the reaction is fear from the parent.
Yeah.
Fear, anger. And a lot of it comes from, you know, afraid of what this is going to mean for their child, afraid of what it's going to mean for them and the family within the community that they live in.
Sure.
Especially if you live in a community or within a community or are surrounded by people who are maybe not as accepting.
Right.
And I think a lot of parents should ask themselves is, am I truly protecting my child or am I protecting my own comfort and reputation?
Yeah. Well, and again, when you make that paradigm shift, because parenting is the child's needs before mine, then it's about preparation, not prevention. Right? I'm not trying to prevent you from being yourself. I'm not trying to steer you away from who you are.
I'm trying to prepare you for a complex world and
Yeah.
a less simple life than I had planned for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop! No! Let me go!
Robin, no!
Stop!
Stay!
Yeah, he's doing it again.
There, I hate it. Just let her go.
I have to help her! She's dying!
Come on, Robin!
Let me go! Maeve! Maeve!
No, Robin, why? I don't understand.
Don't you see?
You don't
I'm
listen.
one of them. I'm a wolf walker.
No, Robin,
Coming out.
stay with me.
Yeah.
I can't let you go.
Father.
Here's the thing. When you let them go, you also keep them.
Yep.
That's how you don't lose them.
Robin!
You hold them too tight, you lose them.
Robin!
And I think the sadness is the recognition, you know, you talk about this as a queer allegory of, I love my family, but I don't belong, I'm not seen, safe, or accepted.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
He hasn't given her a choice. She has to leave.
Yeah.
Chain him. We'll deal with him later.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to have a real piece of crap authoritarian dictator, just make him a bunch of squares.
Typically, if we're going for a traditional Disney villain, we go with triangles. And if we're going for just a character who's generally strong, we go with rectangles. So at least they stepped away from the stereotypical cliche of using triangles for your villain.
I've never noticed that before, and now it's probably the only thing I'll think about anytime I'm watching a Disney movie is like, oh, the triangles are everywhere.
Never talk to animators. They'll wreck animation for you.
No, right now, like, I'm thinking of Jafar,
Exactly.
and I'm like,
Jafar is the perfect example.
Yeah.
He's all triangles.
my gosh. Okay.
He's kind of swoopy triangles, but he is triangles.
Dad's a wolf. And that's good.
So they've just done this magical, miraculous healing.
Mammy!
Oh, Maeve, my little wolf.
And the wolves are all smiling.
Thought you were gone again. I missed you.
Thank you, Makara. My friend.
All those beautiful, sketchy structure lines.
Yeah.
When they have fully, completely accepted themselves. Well, Robin has.
I love that we get structure lines on him as a wolf too. Like he's there.
Father, don't go.
Stay, please. You're one of us.
My take on why he was leaving, like he sees finally what this actually is.
You're in our pack now.
And now it's him who feels like, well, I don't belong here because I see what I've done to my daughter. Yeah. I see the bigotry, the prejudice, the fear. I see all the things that I brought to the table.
He was the wolf hunter for the whole village. Like, he was leading the charge on doing away with the pack. You know, I think earlier in the movie, he actually accidentally tried to kill Robin when she was in her wolf form.
Yeah.
And now he's really, like, putting all the pieces together and realizing what he had done. And his eyes being open to what all of this actually is, which is a pack, a family.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to fear in it. And I think, there is guilt, would you say?
Yeah.
In someone changing their entire worldview?
Well, and I think that's healthy guilt. We've talked about this on the show a lot of times. Healthy guilt is directed at a behavior. It's directed at a behavior that you chose that you can change.
Yeah.
And once you change the behavior, you release the guilt because it did what it was there to do. Mm-hmm. I think the guilt is then replaced with regret, which keeps you from making the same mistakes and going down the same path.
Yeah, but if you don't let go of the guilt, it turns into shame. It turns into, I'm going to hunch my shoulders and walk away and you know, go back to the village, and I don't know what his plan was after this. It's like,
well, and something that this movie speaks to is that for the most part, I mean, there are a small percentage of people in the world who are genuinely malicious, nefarious, nasty. Mm-hmm. Most people who do harmful things are the recipients of messaging that gets them afraid. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so they act out of fear. Mm-hmm. Almost every prejudiced bigot I've ever met in my life, if you step away from that aspect and you look at like the whole of their lives, sometimes they're really good to their neighbors. Sometimes they're really good friends and they love their family and there's like a lot of good to them. There's a lot of humanity there. And then there's this slice, you're like, it doesn't compute. How is this person capable of such ugly nastiness? And it's because of the fear. Mm-hmm. And I love the message of the end of the film. He killed wolves. They could say, go to hell. And you know what? They'd be justified. And he'd be like, you're right. Or they could tear him to pieces. And those would be two justifiable responses to his presence there. But instead they see, you're not an evil person. You were a scared person. And you took in a lot of bullshit messaging. And now that you really see, we want to welcome you and give you a place to heal. And that is a level of grace that I'm not saying is owed to anybody. And I'm not saying that if you've been wronged by somebody who's been prejudiced against you, that you have to do that. I'm saying when it happens, it's beautiful.
Yes. This movie took my least favorite trope in all of film and based the whole movie on that, and I still liked it. That's how good this movie is.
This movie comes from a very sincere place.
Yes.
It comes from a place of wanting to humanize on both sides, to say that we don't have to be ruled by fear. We don't have to let those in power rule us with fear or abusing institutions or using language that is familiar to us and makes us feel a certain way in order to other another person. Right. And I think it's very, very topical these days, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So until next time, and watch movies. Thanks to our patrons who get exclusive director's cuts of all of our episodes, folks like
Diana Ott,
Digio,
Coldfire Fables,
Julia Perez,
and Miles Swigert.
Thank you. We love you.
And check out this one. It's going to be extra long. Rebecca and I had a lot to say.
We did.
Mm.